Okay. Hello everyone. So, my name's Jack, and I'm here with my cousin Michael, and we're doing our podcast uh, for GPT Live Lab. The point of this channel is to educate people about AI and the important, but also about the importance of how the um, employment outlook is shifting underneath us. And so this interview with Mike Rowe not only has to do with AI, but also with the need for just change in how we look at employment and how and what we focus our time on. So that said, Mike, did you have any other comments that you wanted to add at the beginning of this?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. So here at this particular spot in the interview, Mike is talking about creating jobs versus creating enthusiasm. So let's listen to this.
For those jobs. And I essentially begged him and Senator McCormick and Fetterman, both of whom came together in a nonpartisan way to get behind this push. And I got invited simply to remind the crowd that creating jobs is very different than creating enthusiasm for those jobs. And I essentially begged them to carve off a little chunk of that money that was raised and use it to promote the opportunities at hand. So basically, it's the same drum I've been beating for the last 17 years.
So people that are panicking, you said, as you sent to me, they told you to, hey, if I think it was Hillary Clinton that told a bunch of coal miners learn to code.
Yes.
And you said they're coming for the coders, they're not coming from the welders and the steam fitters. You want to expand
Yeah,
on
that
that?
actually got an applause line. We were at the Carnegie Mellon Institute.
Okay, so this actually crosses over into another thing, but so he's talking about the difference between uh, creating jobs and creating enthusiasm. One of the problems that we are facing right now, and I have personal experience in this because at one point I was working for a recruiter trying to find people who were looking for work to match up with employers that we had that the company uh, had hired companies hiring for those positions. And so I was trying to find the people who would do that. And one of the problems that we're running into is that people just didn't want certain jobs. And even people, there were even people uh, who were looking for specific type of work. We'd find the job, find a fit for them. They'd get it on an interview, go to the interview, go through the whole process, accept it. They'd negotiate salary, they accept a position, and then the first day of work comes along and they don't show up for work. So this is people that are in white collar jobs, that are interviewing and accepting jobs that they went to school to learn how to do. So, but with the thing about blue collar jobs, there's nothing being done to create enthusiasm for this, and so there's been so much focus on white collar jobs in this country. Go to school, get a good education, and go and get this white collar job, whatever that may be, and so here he talks about learning to code, and yet this is a position. I'm going to back up a little bit here.
You sent to me, they told you to, hey, if I think it was Hillary Clinton that told a bunch of coal miners learn to code.
Yes.
And you said they're coming for the coders, they're not coming from the welders and the steam fitters. You want to expand
Yeah,
on
that
that?
actually got an applause line. We were at the Carnegie Mellon Institute. I mean, this is like a real pinnacle in an institution of higher learning. And these guys got the memo too. We have for the last 30 years been elevating our white collar portion of the workforce at the expense of the blue collar portion. And we have been sort of intimating that the robots and the technology that is certainly on the horizon, if not already here, is coming for the blue collar jobs. It's turning out to be something quite opposite. It's the white collar positions. I'm painting with a broad brush, but paralegal and anything creative, writing in general, coding, these are looking very wobbly right now. The AI is going to come for those, and I agree with what Jensen was saying. You know, there's disruption, and there's going to be a result, I think, that's impossible to accurately predict long term, but short term. We are entering the golden age of plumbing, steam fitting, pipe fitting, welding, HVAC. Those jobs are not going to be impacted by AI, and those are the jobs that are being created in Pennsylvania right now.
Okay, so this is such a sad fact that we have the biggest shortage. I mean, we have he'll talk about this later, but you know, we have 7.6 million jobs available and nobody to fill them. And the current administration's thinking on this seems to be that we should just, you know, force people off of medical assistance and tell them to go get a job when, you know, while at the same time we're deporting people who want to work any job they can, and a lot of them are would be very, very happy to be able to get into a training program and learn to be a plumber or a pipe fitter or whatever, any of these blue collar jobs. We're deporting them. These are people, the hardworking people that want those jobs. Yet instead of helping them with the path to citizenship, oh, just because they may have walked across the border and not applied for citizenship before they got here. Okay, so like maybe so they didn't do the process exactly right. So we're going to penalize them for that and send them back. And make no mistake about it, Trump has already run out of people who are criminals, which is what he promised everybody, that's what he was going after, was the criminals, not the farmer, you know, not the farmhands, not the, you know, not the people who wanted, you know, who were law-abiding citizens. He made a big deal out of that, but so now he's run out of those and he's deporting farmhands, but yet we don't have people to fill those positions. So I guess he thinks that, you know, by make kicking white people off of yeah, I know, yeah. So Mike is telling me it's not a political podium, but it is kind of. It is because it does factor in here. But with that aside, um, we do need to have uh, to shore up blue collar jobs. We need to create excitement around blue collar jobs because the people that are here don't want them.
I have a
And
question.
yes,
It's easy to teach people skills. If you teach people any type of skill at all, but how do you teach people to be enthusiastic?
that kind of we'll touch on that in a little bit later because he mentions that, like, what, you know, where to find these people, you know, and so but yeah, that's a very good question. So we'll get back to that in just a minute. So the white collar jobs are the ones that are wobbly, and these are the ones that need we people need to not retrain necessarily, because not there's a lot of the white collar jobs are not going to go away entirely. You know, for example, an architect, you know, that has a bunch of underlings underneath him, you know, architect's job is going to be safe, and so are a number of the people that work under him to help him do large projects, right? You know, our architects are usually project managers, you know, and so they, but the people that are going to end up whose jobs are at risk are the people that are under them, and so instead of needing 15 or 20 or 50 of these particular classification of job, we're going to need only a fourth of that. And so the people that are going to be successful and have their job be saved in the short term are going to be the people who learn how to use AI to augment their job, to be able to transition into this new world where it's a AI human partnership. But eventually all jobs that require creativity are going to go away. Even down the road, many years down the road, even physical jobs are going to go away. But first things first, we need to focus on the immediate problem at hand, and then just get people retrained into jobs. And again, like you said, Mike, how do you create enthusiasm for a blue collar job? So let's move on to the next point, actually, which is just a couple. About here.
Have you noticed more people trying to apply for scholarships at Micro Works?
Yeah, I mean, and that's truly a micro example, right? I mean, and it's anecdotal. I mean, my foundation is modest. We've given away about $13 million in these work ethic scholarships, and this year we have 10 times the applicants that we did a year before. And if you look only at that, Brian, you could conclude, hey, you're killing it. And modesty aside, we are in my little world. In macro works, in the United States of America, I'd be ringing the alarm bell if I had one right now, because not a week goes by where I don't hear from somebody like the American Submarine Industrial Base, who needs 140,000 welders and electricians.
Okay, I'm going to pause here because this is, we want to have a strong military, and the again, yeah, we don't really want to make this into a political forum, but we have some just conflicting things that the administration is doing. It's like I don't know what their end game is when we are behind the curve on this. We don't we shouldn't be going to other countries to have them build submarines for us. We shouldn't be dependent on other countries to uh, mine precious metals for us to be able to make certain stuff. And yet we are kind of like shooting ourselves in the foot by raising tariffs on a country that we import those precious metals for to build our electronic stuff that we need. It just doesn't make any sense. So let's continue on from here.
140,000. The automotive industry needs 80,000 in collision repair and technicians. Energy, don't even get me started, man. It's like 500,000. The numbers are mind-boggling, and it's
The irony for me here is that we've got these tech companies that want to build these giant data centers, yet they might have there's plenty of people maybe who will do the white collar parts of the job once these centers are built. But what about the people that they need to actually build the data center? The carpenters, the construction, just the general construction workers, electricians, plumbing, all of that stuff, HVAC, all the stuff you mentioned before. We don't have enough of those people. So who's going to build these data centers? It's like, yeah, great. We have the desire to build these data centers. Do we have the people to actually do it?
awkward to talk about this, especially at an event when I'm sitting there next to the president and we're announcing all of these new jobs that are about to be created. And I'm just sitting there biting my lip going, look, somebody has to point out the fact that we have 500,000 open positions in manufacturing right now, today. What are we going to do if we create 2 million manufacturing jobs? Where are you going to get the workers? So, look, I'm going to testify on your show this weekend on the
I'm going to jump forward to the next point here.
In case there's anybody
here.
out there like me who recognizes the name of Mike Rowe but can't quite place who he is, yes, it's the same Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs.
Yes. And he's, since he's retired from that, he is now focusing on the Micro Works Foundation, which I find it's a nice play on words. Micro Works, as in like micro, M-I-C-R-O. He said this, I think, I don't know if we heard it in this segment, but he said earlier about macro works versus micro works. Kind of funny. Anyway, so here's at this segment, he's going to talk about opportunity problems here. This is
Opportunity problem. And while we might have a century right now, we don't have an opportunity problem. And while we might have a skills gap, we also have a will gap. And if we don't hit that thing head on, we're going to just keep pushing the boulder up the hill, I'm afraid.
Well, not only that,
the will gap. The will gap. That's the big part. I mean, right now we have a lot of people who aren't willing, and he's, micro isn't going there on this, but I feel like it's worth mentioning over and over and over again. We have willing people if we would just make use of them instead of just sending people back to their countries, that they came from. Maybe we should incentivize them instead. Hey, if you want to stay here, these are the type of jobs that we need to fill. So if you're willing to enter into a training program to become one of these things, a carpenter, like, to fill these gaps, to fill these jobs that we need. And then just like we do with doctors and doctors and other professionals, because doctors get fast tracked all the time. Computer people, IT people get fast tracked all the time. Why don't we fast track people who want to be laborers, not just day laborers, but who want to become a skilled professional as an electrician, as an HVAC person? And why don't we incentivize them to actually, and you know what? We need to get over I think we need to get over the whole thing of whether they stepped over the border illegally or not. You know what? If these are just people who want to have a better life. Are we really going to penalize them just because they didn't fill out the paper? They filled out the paperwork on the wrong side of the border. Like, that just seems silly, especially given what we're facing, these labor shortages we're facing.
too, I think that the stat is there are 7 million people eligible to work that aren't working, because that was the Medicaid conversation I was just having with that big bill that President Trump just passed. He's like, well, the problem is a lot of people are just getting insurance and they're refusing to work. So we have to have a work requirement to get people moving.
Yeah, look, you're going to piss a lot of people off with that because it's going to get very political very quickly, and your friends on the right are going to tell you that this is a function of laziness and the human condition, and your friends on the left are going to say the jobs don't pay enough money and you're dealing with greedy, rapacious capitalists. Look, all I can tell you, again, anecdotally, MicroWorks has assisted 2,500 people. The majority are making six figures. Many of them, they get a CDL license, and 3 weeks later, they're making 120 grand driving a truck. 6 months later, they're making 150 grand welding.
And important thing to think about here is that this is good for everybody, because it doesn't matter what country people came from. If they have a desire to work, and that's what most of these people are looking for. They're looking for the opportunity that we all take for granted. Who cares? Like, let's not argue about why people are on Medicaid, why Americans, U.S. citizens are not taking these jobs. And forget that, why they're on Medicaid sitting at home. Let's just look at the fact that they are, okay? And but right at the same time, we're saying that these other people who want to come into this country and are seeking the same opportunities that other U.S. citizens are refusing. Let's focus on getting them in, because we need to fill those gaps. Here's one more section here that I wanted to get to, and this is further down the road here, actually. Let's go to. About 14 minutes in, I think.
But I'm here to tell you that's not what I've seen. So
Go back up a little bit more.
look, the opportunities alone are not enough to inspire, amplify, and motivate this generation to run toward them. And the money's not enough either. If it were that simple, they would offer more money and people would beat a pathway to their door. But I'm here to tell you that's not what I've seen. So there's something missing, and it has to do with PR, communication, messaging. And I'll leave you with this because I know you got to jump. But when these guys ask me where the skilled workers are, we've looked everywhere, Mike, says the Maritime Institute. We can't find them. Do you know where they are? I say yes. They say where? I say the 8th grade. That's where they are.
All right.
That's where you got to go get them.
And by the way, we got the Secretary of Education should be putting that back in, just like pursuing anti-Semitism. We should be pushing for vocational training. Metal shop and wood shop. Mike Rowe, thanks so much. I'll talk to you on Sunday night, 10 o'clock.
Okay, so that's the key points that I wanted to talk about in this article. But Mike, you had, when we were looking through this the first time, you'd raised a question about immigration. You know, like what are the different types of visas?
I
that
have
are
another
available?
question before that one.
Okay.
With it being 98% of the way done to the end, don't you think we should go ahead and let it finish?
Oh, sure. Why not? I don't know if they're going to lead into something else. Let's give them a chance to promote their
That back in, just like pursuing anti-Semitism, we should be pushing for vocational training. Metal shop and wood shop. Mike Rowe, thanks so much. I'll talk to you on Sunday night, 10 o'clock. This is
See
The
you then.
Break.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily.
And let's see.
It seems like that respect is due, that if we're going to use their material, we should at
Sure,
least
sure,
let them
yeah,
get
yeah.
their
Yeah, absolutely.
plugs in for the next one or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And just so that people know what he said, what did he say at the very
We
last?
should be pushing for vocational training. Metal shop and wood shop. Mike Rowe, thanks so much. I'll talk to you on Sunday night, 10 o'clock.
Sunday night. So let's put that in perspective for people if that might want to go and look at that. When was this particular 2 days ago?
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. Thank you for reminding me. So 2 days ago. So this would have been on the. So they're talking about this coming Sunday, or that was this weekend, right? That was this weekend. So 19th was what day? I'm terrible at this. Gotta look at the calendar. So sad. Okay, so July. Yeah, so that would have been the 20th. Sunday the 20th is what they're talking about. So if you want to go find that it's probably on Fox News. And I don't know. At least you know where to find it. Go to the Fox News YouTube channel and look for more micro videos here. Okay. And so that, anything else, Mike, before we move on to our chat GPT on immigrants? You there? Did I lose you, Mike?
No, you didn't lose me. You just lost me to the mute button.
Okay. Yeah, I hate that. I do that too much myself. So here, one of the focuses of this channel, or the focus of this channel, is GPT really, and it's how do we utilize, how do we make the best use of. So personally, I think that everybody needs to use ChatGPT as a educational tool first and foremost. I mean, great, if people want to make funny pictures of kitty cats with wings or whatever, I mean, that's great and fine. It's fun and creative. But but really, it's to me, it's more about the how do you do that? Not just to let ChatGPT do it for you, but how does this work? Like, like learning how to use ChatGPT. And since we have a skills gap and that we need to fill jobs, let's look at using ChatGPT to help us with that. So this particular thing here, blue collar jobs is a project folder that I've created for this, and the first chat in it is types of U.S. visas. You just want to explore that, but this is the kind of thing we're going to be looking at. Learning the U.S. patent project. Hey, maybe you've got some inventions that you want to some things you think about. You want to see, hey, maybe I can patent this. Learn about the patent process. We're going to learn YouTube Studio because Mike and I are very new at this, and we're just learning how to use YouTube Studio. So we're going to do videos or podcasts about that. And so anyway, back to what we're uh, actually here to talk about, which is the, oh, sorry, I think I killed my screen. Let me go back to that. Here we are. And maximum. Oh, it wasn't maximized. I guess that's as big as it gets. So the question that we posed, and there's a different depending on what you're looking to do in ChatGPT, it's best to be specific. And depending on what your focus is, be as specific as you can. All right. But also try to keep it open-ended. Don't try not to ask it to make it a completely closed loop where it can't answer anything but yes or no. Mike and I had discussions about this, so we have differing opinions on it. But I say for the most part, I agree with Mike that it probably is better to ask a question that lets it elaborate some. That said, that's where AI has a tendency to speculate. Some industry experts call it hallucination. I don't call it hallucination. I call it speculation because speculation is a human behavior, and that's what they're trying to do. These companies are trying to make AI more friendly, make it seem more human. So it's not hallucinating; it's speculating. So be careful with this. Make sure you check your sources. And if there's not specific sources cited, you can ask ChatGPT to tell you its sources, and it will do exactly that. Right down here. So a lot of times there's right down here there is we could say cite the sources. There we go. See, now we're getting more specific information. And now here we go. Here's the sources of that information. So this is Wikipedia. Again, you got to go with Wikipedia. You got to go there and look at what their citations are. Are their citations real? Are they, because sometimes you go to a Wikipedia page and it says citations needed. So just make sure that whatever source, USCIS, this is actually the government website. I'd say you can trust that one. Same here.
What is CIS?
Same here. What's that?
What is CIS?
Let's ask ChatGPT, shall we? See, this is what I like about it. It is an educational tool, first and foremost. It's not just a way to cheat on your homework. It's a way for you to learn more. So it can help you with your homework, but you shouldn't rely on it to do your homework for you. It stands for United States Citizen and Immigration Services. And then what does it do? It gives you all kinds of information, and there's the website. So let's start at the top here.
If you are using it for the first time, and if you're not using it for school work or something where you're given specific parameters for using it, you can try all kinds of different stuff. You can
well, sure, yeah,
create
absolutely.
all these
Right.
different chats, and then if you want to delete them
Well, that's
all and start with a
exactly right.
clean slate,
That's how I started when I first started thinking about this. That's how I started. I started with the basic free program, and I started asking so many questions that eventually I I filled up the allotted amount of tokens. I don't want to get into that right now, but uh, you do hit a paywall with ChatGPT, and depending on how many questions you're asking it, you're going to hit that at some point, and on the free one. And so I upgraded to the $20 a month plus program, gives you some more features, but also the paywall is much further away. I have not hit it yet, so I've been asking it to do all kinds of things, and I have not hit that paywall yet, where it said, "Oh, you run out of time. You need to wait 12 hours to ask another question." And so yeah, so definitely try it out for free. I like ChatGPT number one because it's they're further along down the road than anybody else is. There are other companies out there, but they're basically playing catch up to ChatGPT because their ChatGPT is way out in the lead, and also because
which
of
other GPTs have you used? I mean, which other
well,
AIs have you used? Sorry.
so here are the different AIs: ChatGPT, Google AI Studio, Cluely, Gemini, which is also Google, Cloud. Claude is I don't know if it's Claude is pronounced differently in different languages. So but this is very specific. Claude is, I believe, more for programming, and then you've got DeepSeek, which is this is really the only other one I think that is truly, um, Microsoft has some too. Microsoft has, I forget what they
Copilot.
call it. Yeah, Copilot, but these are things that are in Google Gemini, like this is all built into the web browser.
Yeah,
And
some of the, yeah. I'm just gonna
yeah, and
say
I
some of the
definitely
browsers
understand.
have their own.
Yeah, I definitely understand where they're going with it, but for one thing, they're highly specialized. They're using it to augment their web search capabilities. Same thing with Microsoft, and um, but GPT isn't beholden to anything other than letting people giving people access to the AI. Microsoft and these other companies are not doing that. This one is this company. Here, I'll open this in a new tab. So Claude is, yeah. See, oh, no, stop. Okay, so here's Claude. I just got the free plan here. This is, see, can I get learn more? Anthropic, that's the company. This is the actual parent company. OpenAI is the parent company for ChatGPT. And so what this is about coding, build with Claude. And so this is the biggest thing. They have two models, Opus 4 and Sonnet 4. And anybody wants to check this out, you can. But this is geared towards uh, coding. So there's Claude. That's a very specific one. ChatGPT has models like Claude already. That's why I say, like, Claude is playing catch up because they're just focusing in on just this one little niche. And so maybe if you were looking to code, yeah, definitely. If that's what you're if you're a coder, maybe maybe try out Claude and also look at ChatGPT's specialized, specialized um, models. When you
Can you
look at
show how you
25,
get to those specialized models?
I knew you were going to ask that. That's why I'm headed over here. And so you have GPTs. So look at all of these different GPTs that are very specialized. And so um, productivity,
What's
there,
the second one from the last?
Sora. Let's see,
Not
Sora.
there.
No,
DALL-E, DALL hyphen
that's
E.
for images. That's for images.
Okay.
Yeah. And this, you've experimented with Sora. So you turn ideas into images and videos. That's what
Hmm.
Sora is for. But DALL-E is very, very similar to that. I don't know if DALL-E is what powers Sora or not. Codex, let's see, move faster with codec. Engineering agent that answers code-based questions, executes code, and drafts pull requests.
Hmm.
So those are a few of the top ones, but if you go to do a chat, here I'll just go down to go down to this one. So now you got the tools thing here. Deep research, create an image, web search, Canvas. So you Canvas, here, we'll do a new chat. This will not be in, oh, here we go. Here's different ones. ChatGPT 4.0, great for most tasks. Uses advanced reasoning. O4 Mini, fastest at advanced reasoning. O4 Mini High, great at coding and visual reasoning, and then more models. Good G 4.5, good for writing and exploring ideas. 4.1, great for quick coding and analysis. G 4.1 Mini, faster for everyday tasks. But 4.0 is the default in right now. Oh, and by the way, there's lots of buzz in the news that 5 is coming soon, and it's going to be a game changer. So, but we won't get into that. If you want to look for YouTube videos on that, go ahead. But yeah, 5 is coming, and so did that satisfy your curiosity, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't figured it out already, Mike and I love to go down rabbit holes. So back to this here about the
So
types
some
of
of these options you're pointing out will not be available if you're not signed in and don't create an account. Some of them only
yes,
become
that's true. Yeah,
possible if you have an account.
I don't know about what the limitations are of, yeah, I don't know if it's the same experience not signed in versus signed in with a free plan. I don't know if there's really a difference there.
Mhm.
That's a question we could ask ChatGPT, but I don't want to go down on the rabbit hole right now. I want to try and keep this video as short as possible. We've already probably gone too far. Um, so answering the question about visas. So there's a wide variety of visas, obviously. Immigrant, not non-immigrant visa, temporary stay. So this is somebody comes to the country as a tourist or a business visitor. And so uh, and this type of visa, when you're going through customs, it's not like you're applying necessarily for this visa before you get here. This visa is created uh, when you come into the country. You come into the country and they ask you what the purpose of your visit is. You say, I'm here, I'm as a tourist, I'm visiting family, I'm on vacation, I'm whatever. So a B2 visa can be created right at customs. That's when your visa starts, right at customs. Other visas like work visas, H1B, H2A, so I don't know about these two here, but H1B specifically. So an employer has to apply for this. It's not just the immigrant that's dealing with this. The employer has to sign off on this and say to the government, I can't fill this position with anybody here in the United States. which actually is very applicable because even for white collar jobs, programmers, you know, they and we're not talking about just coders. We're talking about high level programmers and engineers, basically developers. And and for those people who don't know, there's all different buzzwords, but like a full stack developer is somebody that can basically do pretty much anything in the development of code, anything in coding. But so these have to be signed off for, like a company has to put their signature on the fact that they can't find this candidate without going outside the country. And you got these visas here, athletes, entertainers, artists, lots of these, happen all the time. Same thing with business, with people coming on business.
Canadian
People,
citizen working on a film that's filmed in Hollywood.
exactly right, exactly. And so then you get student exchange, and this is, without getting too political, this is what there was a person who was deported. I don't know if they deported her or if they were trying to deport her. I don't remember. But there was a student, and she was targeted. We believe, we meaning me and a lot of people on the demonized left, believe that this girl was targeted because she was speaking out against the the conflict in Israel. She was pro-Palestinian, and she was targeted because of that, and they revoked her visa. And so she was here legally, and then they took away her visa because they didn't be, and we believe, again, a large, probably half of the country at least believes that it was done for political reasons. So you've got these different categories here: victims of human trafficking, religious workers, victims of certain crimes who assist law enforcement, Canadian Mexican professionals under NAFTA or USMCA, fiance of a US citizen. This is another thing they're clamping down on. Yeah, it's like who they're making decisions based on what they believe about a person, whether or not it's reality or not. So immigrant visas, permanent resident green card, these are people seeking to live in the United States. So you have family-based, which is pretty obvious what that is. F1 to F4, preference categories for more distant relatives. This is another thing the administration is trying to shut down, is what they call um, the well, what the left would like to call an anchor citizenship, like the very thing that Melania Trump used to get her family into the United States. She got here under a special visa underneath, probably, actually, it was what they call an Einstein visa, because she was supposedly such a supermodel that like this qualified her somehow to be under the Einstein visa, which is the stuff that they use to get highly sought after people like rocket scientists, or people who are super smart in any particular category. Basically, the very thing that they use to drain Europe, and all of Europe and all of Asia as much as they could. Uh, this is one of the reasons that the Russians are still kind of trying to play catch up, because during the Cold War, you know, at the end of World War II, and all the way through the Cold War, and still to this day, we are still seeking after getting Russian scientists. So we're trying to entice them to come and be American citizens, and draining these other countries. And it's not just Russia, but it's all over. Anybody smart anywhere in the world, they're trying to get these smart people in, And then they really don't care about the semi-skilled or unskilled laborers. And, you know, they don't want the people to come in who are working with Target.
Timestamps on them. They go back.
I'm hearing something in the
I think I
background.
may
Did you-
have inadvertently that.
I guess I should have muted first.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, that's the family-based visa. That's how Melania Trump got her kids in. That's how so many other people, millions and millions of immigrants, you know, got in under this type of visa. Most all of the people that came into Ellis Island all the way, during the early days of the country when we actually did honor what the inscription on the Statue of Liberty says: "Bring us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses." Like when we actually gave crap about that. So employment-based EB1, professors, executives with extraordinary ability. This might be what they call the Einstein visa, this EB1, advanced degree, or maybe just even this whole category. Advanced degree professionals, exceptional ability, skilled workers, professionals, unskilled labor. Okay, now probably just these two. That would probably be the Einstein visa, maybe just the EB1. And then immigrant investors. This is what Trump, if anybody remembers the golden visa that he bragged about. He basically wants to fast track anybody that will pay him or pay, I don't know if pay the country, I don't know what that means, but anybody that will fork over $5 million, and they can get fast tracked for a visa. So if you want to, if you're a millionaire and you want to buy your way into the country, here you go. There's your visa, EB5. Just uh, just do Trump's golden visa. And humanitarian special needs. So refugee, asylee. This is where a lot of people are coming into this country. Haitians are they're not yet being deported in mass. So what we're seeing mostly right now is Hispanics. And I don't know that many of them. So it depends on what country they came from. From Mexico, no, they're not looking for asylee status. But from other countries, they may be looking for asylee status because to go home would mean to be killed in one fashion or another. Either they'd be forced to join the military, which would get them killed, or one way or another, they're they're going to die if they get sent home. And Haitians are in this group of people, and I personally know some who are good people. They're hardworking, law-abiding people, and they do not want to go back, but they don't have any choice. One person I know in particular, his work permit expired, and they're not renewing it, so he can't work. He's allowed to stay in the country. He has to report he has to self-deport by going in and reporting before some date in, I think, May of next year, May of 2026. But he no longer has the ability to work for in the U.S. legally. He can get a job under the table for cash, but he can't legally work in the United States because they've revoked his work permit. And that is the case with a lot of Haitian immigrants. And just so I'm being clear, we're talking about a guy who speaks 3 languages. He is not, some high school dropout. I mean, this is a kid that's intelligent. He's 26 years old. He's motivated. He's smart. He's a hardworking, law-abiding citizen, and they're just they're gonna have him leave. For what reason? I don't know. So then there's a special immigration juvenile. I don't know what that means. Afghan Here you go. Here's a special one just for Iraqi and Afghan. I wonder if they've eliminated, if they're working on eliminating this now. I don't know. But so that's the different types. Now, specifically, Mike had asked, like, what's the difference between, isn't it to the essence of your question, what's the difference between a green card and a work visa?
Yeah, I also got another question.
Sure. Okay, ask away.
Why don't we answer the one about the difference between a visa and a green
Okay,
card?
so the first thing, so green card is fits a couple of categories. So the green card, I guess, is just something it's come to be called. But this is a immigration status. And so it can be covered by many of these different things as a reason to get your green card. But the green card is a either permanent or temporary, or well, actually, wait, specifically it says here, refers to lawful permanent resident status. So these are people who are not citizens, but they are here permanently
Legally.
yeah, legally, yeah, permanently legally. And this is what the big gripe is with the people who want to kick everybody out, is that, well, I came here under my my F1 or like, whatever the status was that they came here on. I came here legally and I got my green card, and it's like, okay. And because of that, they want to kick everybody else out who didn't follow this process. Well, we have a 2-year waiting list for people to even get to have appointments. They fill out the paperwork online. It takes 2 years for them to meet with somebody. So what are we saying to our immigrants here? Yet at the same time, oh, hey, by the way, if you have $5 million, you can just pay us, and then we'll move you to the front of the list. Or you have some extraordinary skill. You're a doctor. I don't know that they consider lawyers, but doctors especially, because there's such a shortage of medical professions. So people who are doctors get fast tracked. They get an appointment right away. They get into the country quite easily. And anyway, so all that said, so does that answer your question about what a green card is versus a, a visa?
Still a little hazy.
All right. To make it perfect, to try and make it perfectly clear, people seeking to live permanently in the United States, but not necessarily become a citizen. They want to live here permanently, or at least have the right to live here permanently. They can go in and out of the United States. They can travel just like a US citizen. They're not subject to the visa status. Like the visa status has a time stamp on it. When you come into the country on a tourist visa, you have a time clock. You have to be out of the country. So when you hear about people overstaying their visa, that means that they came into the country on a tourist visa, maybe, or even a business visa, and they overstayed. They did not leave when they were supposed to. And that is how the vast majority of illegal immigrants get into the country. The vast majority. People think it's because they walked across the border. I mean, yeah, a lot of people did. Oh,
Let's not throw out statistics unless we've actually verified them.
let me call you back. Let me call you back.
Mm-hmm.
So my spouse calling on my phone. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Do you have any other questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay. So that's what we have here. And so this is a very complex thing, about immigration. This all ties in together. We need to have people be prepared for the onslaught of AI. We need people to, especially, pertaining to the video that we watched. We need blue collar workers, so we need to figure out ways to incentivize them. We can't wait for eighth graders to be to be trained up, some uh, 10 years down the road.
Not with the current labor laws, at least.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. Yeah, don't even go there. But yeah, but we can't wait 10 years for these people to get trained up into these positions. So yeah, that's great. The most immediate thing I can think of that we can do is let immigrants stay who want to work and incentivize them to pursue like, hey, if you sign up for this, just like Trump wants to give away visas for $5 million, let's give away visas to people who are willing to sign up for a vocational program.
How about the people that have been waiting longest?
Well, okay, yeah, we could start with those. Yeah, obviously that seems to be the right thing. But even if we wanted to say tomorrow, start processing those applications, okay, and start speeding up the process. I don't know how many people, Trump is adding on border security, like, so he's adding ICE agents to policing the border and to rounding up people to deport. What we really should be doing, I think, is taking those people and putting them to work processing the application so that we can get through this huge backlog of people who want to be here and were here and they did apply legally, but now they're being, they're being deported because they overstayed their visa welcome. But they came in and they applied, and they should have had you can stay 6 months, I think, for, I don't know, I believe that's correct. So just on a tourist visa, I think you can stay 6 months. So why can't they get in an app, if they submitted an application, why can't they get processed in 6 months? I mean, yeah, I got a backlog to see my doctor, but I can get into my doctor to see them within 6 months. Well, so if that can happen with the huge shortage of doctors that we have, if that can happen, why can't our government process a visa and give people an interview within 6 months? I think that should be possible, but it's just a matter of the priorities. Instead of throwing people out of the country, let's look through the visas of the people that want to be here and do that. And maybe incentivize that, give them incentives, like you want to fast track it, you want to become a green card holder, or you want to fast track the process, become a welder, or do this type of thing, so that way we fill these millions and millions of
Taking care of
positions.
two problems at the same time.
Exactly, two problems at the same time, because we have people in this country that are citizens that don't want those jobs. So let's let the people stay who do want those jobs. And with that, I don't think we got anything more to talk about at the moment.
No.
All right, man. All right, well, let's end our call then. And for any of our future viewers, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, comment, share, especially please do comment. We're very new to this, so give us feedback. Just try and be polite and keep it relevant to what the channel is about. But we welcome feedback, and so positive, negative, whatever. Let us know what we could be doing better, or what we're doing right. Thanks. Bye, everyone.